fans. It's Wednesday night. It is time for me to review American Horror Story 1984, Episode 2. Now, I understand that this is my Walking Dead, Norman Reedus ear necklace. But I figured, considering what's going on in 1984 series, that I can substitute. If I had mentioned anything, you probably wouldn't have noticed, or maybe you would have. But that's not super important. Alright, so if anyone hasn't been watching American Horror Story 1984, this series is pretty much an homage to the slasher movies of the 1980s. The first episode pretty much set up, it was pretty much Friday the 13th. It's a slasher movie set at a summer camp at a lake. They don't call it Camp Crystal Lake. I mean, that would just be too, that'd be so blatant they probably couldn't get away with it. But it's Camp Redwood or whatever. And sorry, I'm itching. And the two TV movies that I picked up in the first episode was, of course, Friday the 13th, and just a slight reference to I Know What You Did Last Summer. So they're just going to be going after all the, 1980s, early 90s slasher movies. You have, the slasher movies, and they even introduce, Richard Ramirez, because this takes place in 1984 in Los Angeles at the time of the Olympics, which is why a lot of these people leave Los Angeles, why they want to go take the jobs as counselors, just because they want to get out of LA during the Olympics. The first episode was awesome. I mean, a lot of times American Horror Story starts off very, very, very strong and will continue that with for a little bit and then dip. Sometimes they don't start out as well and then move up. But this one, it started out strong, and the second episode, the one tonight, moved up. And if they continue with this season the way they have so far, it's probably going to be the best season they've done so far. So basically what they are, and they aren't even going with a lot of the main stars they've had in the past, because we've got Evan Peters and Sarah Paulson, who's been in, I think, virtually every season, and a couple other people who aren't even so far in this season. We've only got like 3, possibly 4 returning stars. You've got Billy Lords, who plays the kind of the horror movie slut character. You've got Julie Roberts' niece, and I can't for the life of me remember her first name, who plays the virginal character. And these are the only 2 right now who have been in more than one season that I can remember. returning as the regular cast, and we have the guy that played the Antichrist in last season's series returning, and a woman who played maybe in one or two other seasons returning as the camp counselor. So you have the first episode, they set everything up, they're moving out, the central character, the virginal one, of course it's always got to be the virginal character who's one of the central characters. And all her friends go out to this new lake, this new camp that was a site of slaughter back in 1970, and they're reopening it. And she's trying to flee Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. So this makes it even better because not only are they dealing with slasher movies, they're also dealing with serial killers. Hair splitting, I know. I mean, there's not, serial killers and slashers. You could probably say they're the same thing, but anyway. So, and it sets everything up. They all go out there. The central character, the Jason character, escapes from a mental institution, get a couple kills, ends. This one picks up pretty much where the first one lets off. You have the lady who's works at the mental institution coming out to the camp, trying to warn people that yes, Mr. Jangles, which is the slasher in this movie, has escaped, and she suspects he's coming out to the lake to kill people. And of course, we the viewers already know that he's there. The woman who owns the lake, who is a victim of the only surviving victim from 1970 of the original massacre, says, "Yeah, I'm not going to close it. He's got a plan to kill everyone. I have a plan to survive. I'm not going to close this place." And which is a good character motivation, and each of the different characters get a certain amount of screen time. You get a little bit more look into their history. You have the jock, the Olympic jock. You have all these other different people. The Billy Lord character, who's a slut, the virginal character. You find out a little bit more. So there's the character development, and my God, I mean, as someone who grew up in the '80s, I was born in '69, so I was in high school in the '80s. The music and everything is just a big throwback, which I think this makes it all the more enjoyable for the show. All the more enjoyable to watch, because it is kind of something I remember back. And not only do they use really good music, but they use it appropriately. Certain songs for certain moods. Some of them is just as a joke, some of them to give a certain character a type of things. And they aren't just sticking to one trope. By bringing in Richard Ramirez into this, you get a whole new element to what's going on. I mean, if you watch Friday the 13th, it's kind of removed from reality. It's another universe, so to speak. But with this, you're bringing in other, things that we know. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. They're combining the elements, and wow. I mean, I'm watching this thing, and I'm texting a friend of mine who will be watching it a little later saying, dude, this is so awesome. And they progress, and it ends on a massive cliffhanger. Now, my initial thought after watching the first episode, why do I keep doing that, was that Mr. Jangles, the villain of this, wasn't going to be the one doing a lot of the killing. Because if you are aware of the first Friday the 13th movie, Jason wasn't the one doing the killing at all. It was his mother. And you didn't find that out until the very last couple scenes of the movie. From 2 on, it was all him. So I was thinking, okay, Mr. Jangles, he's just a red herring. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but that's pretty much not the case. I thought it was going to be as another person, and it looks like I might be right-ish, but of all the deaths so far, this person has not been involved in any of them. This person could still be initially behind it, or be the one who becomes the major baddie in this in the series. But what I find so good so far, even 2 episodes in, is that they are throwing you for a loop. You're expecting, at least in my case, I'm expecting it to go left. Now it's going right, and then starting to go right, swerve a little left, and then go back right again, and then up towards being a little straight. This is awesome. Just, if this, like I said before, if this keeps up the way it has been, it's going to be the best season so far. Maybe it's just the 80s stuff that I grew up with, the nostalgia. Maybe it's other things, but damn, you really need to watch this show and catch up with it if you haven't. And they even have the boss from the X-Files in the first-ish episode. I don't know if he's going to appear again, but I'm going to give this a 4.25 out of 5 so far. And I can tell you what, next week I'm going to be watching it again. So let me know if you watched it. Let me know what you think, and talk to you later.